Hello and welcome to the Kitchen Conversations podcast. My name is Patrycja and I'm the host of this platform where we speak about contemporary art from so-called Eastern Europe. In each episode, you're going to be introduced to one artist or researcher whose visual or activist practice sheds light onto the complex former socialist region with all its histories, cultures, languages, foods, but also traumas and their inevitable contemporary consequences. This podcast is a fully independent platform existing since May 2020, meaning it is not a funded project and it is self-run by me, myself, and I. If you enjoy the monthly conversations, please consider supporting the podcast by making a single donation on buymeacoffee.com/kitchenconversations or becoming my monthly Patreon via the Patreon website. All the needed links can be found in the show notes of this episode.
At home, my mother is Russian speaking and she always said Elena. And then in my passport it was Elena, but then it's Elena in Georgian, so it was a mess. So at the end, you can call me Leniko.
Welcome back to another episode of Kitchen Conversations. On February 2nd, I had the pleasure of teaming up with my colleague and fellow enthusiast of Eastern European culture, Julia Schneider, to host a live community event here in Berlin. Our goal? To spread the word about this very podcast and Julia's fantastic newsletter, where she recommends events and happenings related to Eastern Europe in Berlin. You can find the link to sign up for her newsletter in the show notes of this podcast. During the evening, we had the honor of screening the Georgian documentary film Blueberry Dreams by Elena Mikaberidze, who was present for a Q&A after the screening. The filmmaker, who traveled all the way to Berlin from Tbilisi for the screening, was gracious enough to meet with me again 2 days after and record this podcast for you. So here it is. Welcome, Elena, to Kitchen Conversations.
Thank you.
We've been speaking at the Q&A 2 days ago, and now happy that I can have a moment, just the two of us, for a few more questions about your work, about you. And you're in Berlin for a few days. How do you like it so far?
So it's my first time spending some days here, and I like it, but it feels like we are in the 80s or something.
Yeah?
Yeah, the colors, the sounds, everything. It's so like in German films. So I like it very much.
Tell me, where are you now based, like on an everyday basis?
I live in Tbilisi, but also in Brussels. I'm half-half. I finished this movie that you saw 2 days ago, but I'm shooting...
Blueberry Dreams?
Yes, I'm shooting another one now since 2 years. It's about Alzheimer and dementia. That is very taboo in Georgia, and we don't talk about this. We hide those people, and in each family there is a case, and everybody struggles, the person who is ill and the family around. And I want to talk about this and to make maybe the government build facilities and help and have good doctors, and just to shed a light on this. This is a documentary that I'm shooting for 2 years, and also I'm working on a fiction that I've been developing for years, and now it's getting I won the first phase in the film center, some big prizes for the script, so now it's starting. So I will soon have a maybe casting location, but in Georgia for the moment it's also hard to think about big project like this because there is a struggle in Georgia. It's not good. So
I always keep forgetting that like filmmakers work for a very long time on pieces, so you can also work on few films at once, right?
Exactly, because this Blueberry Dreams took me 5 years, but in between I made some stuff and I also worked beside. And this new documentary also called This Is Not My Sea. It's called like this because we brought a lady who had Alzheimer to the seaside, and she was from Abkhazia. Then she touched the stones, she touched the water, and she said, "This is not mine. I want to go home." And she cannot because there is checkpoints, borders, etc. And it was really hard. But she lost her memory, but she did not lose the memory of her house. So it was really beautiful. It's been 2 years, and it's gonna take me still, I think, more than 2 years more.
I mean, guess you have to be a really patient person if you work.
Exactly. For this, and also for fiction, you have to be patient for the finance, because it takes a long time to get all the funds to pay people properly, and it's a big... I could not imagine when I left Belgium that filmmaking demands so much people, so much... that's a really hard job.
And were you always convinced that you will be a filmmaker?
You know, I wanted to be always a politician like my grandpa, save the world, etc., etc. But I always loved films. It was crazy. I was going alone to old cinema in Brussels. There was on Saturday mornings, there was a class by a teacher, a very old cinema teacher, and I was going there alone, and I loved it so much. And then when I had my premiere in Brussels, I met my school friend, but we were like 7 or 8 years old, and she told me, "Elena, do you recognize me? It's Julie." And I was like, "Yes." She did not change at all. And then she told me, "I'm so happy that you make a film, because when we were playing together after school, you had a box." And I did not remember this box. And she said, "In this box, you had 1 ticket of cinema, then you cut something, and then a poster, and then the little camera, and then little stuff. And then you said to me, one day I will make films."
Wow.
So I forgot totally. That's true. I had little
Great
things.
anecdote.
Yeah, I was collecting a lot of stuff, but I didn't know that I told her this. I forgot. So she said, "I knew you will go for it."
So it was in you through politics and towards film, and I think currently your work very much combines
and I think
both of those things.
Yeah, you're right, because films are politics. It's a way to say some stuff. It's a way of making politics like I wanted. So I did not change my mind. I just changed the way I will do.
And you grew up in Belgium, correct?
Yeah, I was born in Georgia, and I left Georgia when I was 5. So yeah, I grew up in Belgium, study everything till university.
Like a few years ago,
I decided,
to go back.
I wanted to see my grandma. Absolutely, she was living in this breakaway region, and I was like, why? I grew up in Belgium, very peaceful. I had little apartment, nothing special, And then I ended up there, and I wanted to see my grandma at the border. They said no. I was like, why? I could not understand.
Which border are you talking about?
Actually, I cannot say border. I have to say separation line, because it's in the law. It's like this, because if you say border, it means you recognize that it's a border. So there's in Georgia 2 breakaway region, and they are controlled by Russia. Why? Because there are Russian border guards, Russian passports people, and Russian money, like the ruble. So it's very strange areas, and a lot of Georgian were kicked out from this, 300,000 during the war. And I'm coming from mixed family. My mom is from the region, Abkhazia, one of the region, and my dad is from Tbilisi. And my mom's family was there, and now I cannot
Including
go.
your grandma, right? Yeah.
And I cannot go there because I have a Georgian family name. But I managed 3 times to buy a pass. But then they arrested me, and then they say, "Go away." They said, "You have nothing to do here." And they say a sentence that always stay in my mind. It's like, "Your mother made a wrong decision." Because she was the daughter of a politician, and then she chose a Georgian boy. And it was like a Romeo and Juliet from the Caucasus, something like this.
So your grandma, you cannot see her?
I could not, but now as she is sick, she's the one who has Alzheimer, and we managed to take her out with a health pass. You can, if you want to get medication or treatment in Tbilisi, you can leave Abkhazia. And then we decided not to get her back, because it's 1 month pass. And we decided to leave her in Tbilisi. And my mom and dad, they moved from Belgium to take care of her. Now it's really the most, I think the most important person in my in my life, but now as she doesn't remember me, and it's very hard. I'm trying with this film also to keep her forever, but it raised question of ethics also for me, and also how to be a filmmaker, but also a granddaughter, and I cry. So this film is, I don't know if it's very, but let's see. And also it's not only her, it's about also all the people in Tbilisi.
Somewhere like on some film websites, and I found a biography of you, like the topics you are interested in, or like what's important to you in your films is borders, separations, also how war affects people, but also how you can make a film about peace, perhaps. Here in Berlin, you showed 2 days ago the film Blueberry Dreams that you premiered in 2024, correct? Last year. Yes. And prior to that, you did like short films also around the topic of borders.
Yeah. Yes.
Why is that important to you? And
I think it's important because I've experienced it, because I have a separated family, and we are struggling, and my mom is she can't see her brother, and it's not a normal everyday life. I even wrote to the president, of Georgia. I wrote him a letter, 5-page letter, and I told him why it's not possible. Let's just have a coffee on a Sunday morning with my grandma. Why you are not doing anything? I can't understand this. It's such a natural way of living, and it's not possible. So we always talk about, not always, because you need to talk about them, the people who were, forced to leave Abkhazia, so the displaced person. And also you talk about Georgian, but you never talk about the mixed families, how they struggle. And mixed families that work is also an example of peace. And I think it's really important that it can work. I don't know if I have the right, but I give myself this right to be legitimate, to talk about this, because my parents love each other very much, and this family both families love each other, and there was never a question of politics. Of course, my grandpa was like, "Whoa," in the beginning, but then you understand that it's just lines on the ground, and it's really okay. And this, and I think it's really, artificially created, this hate and conflict. So I don't know if I answered, but yeah, it's
totally
really important for me and very close to me, the topics. Yeah,
it was nice that you spoke about love, and through human relations you can kind of fix everything, and that's actually what matters. And I think this I really much saw in your film Blueberry Dreams, that I think people are curious to hear more about. That's why I thought today on the podcast we could concentrate a bit more there. And you found amazing protagonists. I think that's already one key to a good documentary, to have someone or a couple of protagonists that you really speak to as a viewer. And you definitely managed to do that. So tell me, how did you find this family that you spent 2 years with?
Initially, I wanted to film my 2 cousins who live in Abkhazia, and I thought I would get a pass again, but I'd never get this pass.
But you keep trying.
Yeah, I keep trying, and then it was COVID, and then the checkpoints were really closed, and it was impossible. So I decided to go at the separation line and to meet other kids same age, and to talk about how is it to have a border as an everyday encounter, or to see border guards? Are you scared? And they told me things like they hate fireworks or things like this. Very
coming from the child's world, right?
Yeah, and I spent time in this region, and I was like, oh, it really affected me how they still live. They are still some people are in the camps or in an abandoned house, and they still think they will go back. And one night I was working with the DOP, and I told him, can you search for a place to stay? Because all the hotels were closed because of COVID, etc. And we found a guest house. And then we went there, and it was in Zugdidi, the main city in the region. And then I saw Lazare and Georgi, the main protagonists. They were same age, exactly same age as my cousin. And I don't know, it was so funny. The first meeting, Lazare was in his tree, looking at me, always sitting in this tree. I was like, okay, I entered their garden and then I spent one day with them. And then the dad came. I bought a land. I will make blueberries. Wow. And he was so funny, so already. Then I went to bed and I could not sleep. And I felt something. I called my producer, said, Elena, she also called Elena. I said, there is something. And she said, okay, let's stay with them and let's see what is happening. And 1 week, 2 weeks, then I came back to Tbilisi. I showed images that we shot with the family. It was beautiful. And then I said, okay, let's go for it.
You were just there, sometimes with the camera, sometimes not. How does it work?
In the beginning, I told them that I was doing a documentary in the region about kids and how they feel about the border and how it affects their imagination. So it was not about their family especially. But then the more time I spent with them, I told them, I have to spend time in your daily life. Would it be okay? Then we spent time without the camera. We eat with them. I cooked for them. I went to the field, blah, blah. And we just chilling in. Kids loved McDonald's, the only thing in the region. Like, so funny. Like, McDonald's is a big thing. Let's have a Coca-Cola. And the DOP was also obsessed by Coca-Cola. So they were just drinking. Like, it was funny. Like, nothing special. Like, really, 2 kids and us. I was also a kid. We were just hanging around in the city for hours. And then I started to film the work of Soso in the field, etc. Then I started to research also this program he's enrolled in, this Plan the Future. And then I saw all the layers of geopolitics that it opens and how I can talk about my country through this field. And I was like, oh, geez, it's really interesting. And then I dig. And then honestly, I didn't know where it will go because I wanted to say it for the first harvest, the first New Year when you have all dreams and you say, it will be beautiful. And then the second New Year, the last day of shooting that it's also in the film, when it's the end of illusion. And Soso admits, and it was so painful and so powerful that I decided to leave the space and leave this family to make this film, to talk about this fast and maybe change their life. Because it was urgent, and also in 1 year we had election. I wanted to say this story very fast already.
So you kind of arrived to their family. They just bought the land they got a credit, like they enrolled in this governmental program. Maybe you can say a few sentences about this program, Plans the Future.
Those regions were torn by the war. They were a bit destroyed. There's a lot of displaced people. So it was going nowhere. And the Georgian government decided to revive and to make people get back your land, grow things, bring life back to our country. So it was really beautiful campaign. And then they decided to give out loans to people so they can buy land and grow a fruit that is incredible. Not only the blueberries, but blueberries was the main thing.
Is there a reason why?
Because they thought it's very expensive, it's good,
it's like a luxury product.
Yes, everybody wants it. But then they gave out so much loans. Everybody started to make blueberries. Most of the people didn't know how to make blueberries. Like Soso was learning on YouTube. They had 1 afternoon of training. It was a mess. And then USAID gave a book called Blue Blueberry. That's the name in Georgian, Lurgi Motsui. It's how to make blueberries, and they were distributing the book. And now there's so much blueberry, they cannot sell it. If you are a small-scale farm like Soso, of course it works for big farms of blueberries. They can buy the license, they can export, they can do whatever they want. But for Soso, he has no choice. Sometimes he has to sell to Russians, like saying, I will give you €1, and that's it. You have no choice. It's too late. They are there, they are growing, and when you pick them, you have little time to sell them. It's a product that lasts a short time. And also on the same branch, they are not ready at the same time. So you have a branch, you have 5 little blueberries, and there's only 2 who are ready, and you have to come back every day and check. But can you imagine? He has 6,000 branch. He's calling them my little girls.
It's incredible that like through the documentary you really show like how easy it is of an idea, of a dream, to really grow this beautiful fruit and sell it and have a prosperous life afterwards, and how the reality looks. We can, as you said, like see the first harvest and how it's still very like an ideal future image, and then it kind of comes back to reality that is just so difficult for such a small farm.
In the city there are everywhere billboards, everywhere. Take a loan. And there's not much to do in the region of Georgia, and it's very sad. There's nothing to be happy with. I'm sorry to say it. There's no cinema, no cafe, really. Kids don't have place to go, etc., etc. And Soso is a big romantic guy, and when he saw that he can buy a land of Georgia that was almost taken by the war, and then he can grow some beautiful fruits that life can come back. He said, wow, what is the best gift I can give to my kids? So this film is also like a testament for Soso, because he's not old, he's 67, but for a dad, he's a very old dad.
I wanted to say exactly, his kids or their kids together with the mom, they are rather like, young, one teenager and one kid still, but they are like, you can see pretty mature people with like a history behind them.
Yeah, it's he didn't want to have kids. Nino is his third wife, but with Nino, he decided that he wanted to have kids, and it's the best thing he did. But he is aware that he is getting very weak because he's working very much. Besides saying jokes, etc., etc., he's working very hard, and that's what also I appreciate. He doesn't want help. No, he wants to work, but he wants to work fairly, in a fair condition, and it's I really value him as a person, because he's a hard worker, but he had health issues during the shooting. 3 heart attacks,
oh my God,
surgery, a car accident, a lot of stuff. We stopped shooting and we just spent time with the kids, because kids also one day, Georgi, the oldest, he said to me, "Are you my friend because you are making a film, or you are just my friend?" And then I threw the camera. Yes, I threw the camera. I said, "I don't care about this film. We are friends." So yeah.
What also stuck with me is that, like, but maybe that's because the parents are a bit more mature and already have lived through stuff, but like how they speak to the kids and how they educate the kids is very special. Although they are on a farm and live very simple lives, they have like very deep conversations with the kids, and also the kids know so much about life and seem to be very wise and very also like supportive to the parents and understanding to the whole struggle and the situation they are in. But what I love, the art and creative aspect, that one of the sons, he's a very creative person. He paints, also politically active through his art, and the parents really leave him a free hand and say, like, once we get the money from the blueberries, you can do whatever you want. You can be a painter. And that's something you wouldn't hear so often from parents, right?
Yeah, that's also what I like, why I chose this family, because I felt that kids are heard, are free, and the 2 boys can have emotions, they can cry. Lazare has long hair, he can wear rings.
Rings, exactly.
It's okay, you can be whatever you are. And it's really rare in Georgia. I mean, not in the capital or something, but in the region, a man should be a man and not cry and help in the field, etc. But then they were not farmers. They didn't know anything. They were living in the city. Soso was engineer, and then he just got this idea of, I don't know, to be farmer. And the young he's playing always in the field. It's not really working. But the oldest, he didn't want to be a farmer. And you can see throughout the film that he's really struggling. First, he's very clumsy. Second, he's getting... he gets to know how to do it. And then he sees his dad struggling. And then at the end, he is driving the car. He's working at the field. And then he is teaching his little brother. And then you see how the dad is he's putting this on the shoulders of the oldest. And it's a bit sad for me, but yeah, like the last scene when you already draw my future. I will never abandon what my dad did, and it's so beautiful. And he really loves it because he values also what his dad is doing for them. The mom, she wants them to. All these 2 years, she was saying, "Let them play in the field. I don't care about your blueberries." So she was the good cop, and the Soso also. Okay, let me help, because in one scene he says, "Oh, you go to your English class, this karate, and me. I'm a lonely wolf." In my field. Then yes, it's your choice, and it's funny because it's okay. And about art in Zugdidi, there's a art school led by a German lady with a Georgian husband, and the kids go there, and it's not really a school, it's just a house, and they made it a school, and they learn arrhythmia. It's also strange, dancing for boys in Georgia, like not Georgian dance, but you know what I mean. And the boy was painting there, so they got to. And also one thing, when we started shooting, my DOP is not Georgian, he's German actually, but the kids wanted to talk with him and they could not communicate, so they took English classes, and at the end they could speak English. It was so fast, incredible. They are so bright and fast and intelligent, those kids. So that's why also I think this family, even though they are so clumsy, they are like an example of a good Georgian family. And I wanted to show Georgian how is it to love their kids and love their dad. And it was also a film about this, about just a dad loving his kids and having dreams.
You actually have a donation campaign where people can support this family, and also just like connect with them. Like you can on this site read more about them, like what they are doing now and so on. Can you speak about that a bit?
So there is a platform called ShareDoc, and you can apply and explain why you want your film to be on this platform. And then we got accepted on this platform, and so you can support the family. You just click ShareDoc Blueberry Dreams, you will find it. And or you can donate some money, but also you can donate your time or tools or anything you want. You know, it's very like, I said this, it was funny during the screening. I said, if you have 2 weeks, you have nothing to do in your life, you can help Soso in his farm.
So you can go there and actually work and stay with them.
Yeah, they will be very happy. And
that was my second or next question. The farm still runs.
The farm still runs. It's very hard because they don't have a tractor, and he's doing everything by hands. That's why he's very weak. Like Soso, from the first day of shooting yesterday, I was looking at the film, and today, I think he took 20 years. His body he got so small also. It's so hard to see him again, and he really needs help. Georgi, the oldest, he's helping so much, but soon they have to give back the loan because it was 4 years. I don't think it will be possible that they can give back this money. So I'm scared that he will lose his house also because they mortgage everything. That's why I'm really counting on this campaign, and I'm not a good PR, I'm not good at this, but I really, if you are touched by this family, just think about this.
Sure, I will also share the link, so people, after listening to our conversation, perhaps those who were at the screening in Berlin, or those who will come to some other screenings of the film, can then listen to the insights of it through this podcast. And tell me about perhaps the next screenings. When are they happening, and how can people see the family through the film?
So I totally forgot, but tomorrow I'm taking the plane back to Brussels. But then I have to go back to the train directly. I forgot because I go to Nantes. I thought it was later, but it's now. Because I'm a mess also sometimes. I go to a festival in Nantes, and there will be 2 screenings of the film. He will be in competition. That's super cool. And after this, I go to Go East Film Festival in Germany. So that's
Wiesbaden,
Yes, and there's super festival, and you can see a lot of Eastern European films. I really liked the German audience, was really nice. Also in Leipzig, there were free screenings and they were full, and people really loved the family. So it's been 1 year already, and I made some crazy screenings. I was in Kiev also, and there is in the film a line about the war in Ukraine. So for me, it was very important to go there. I was scared very much. It took 31 hours to get to Kiev. It was really scary, but the audience they were crying so much, because this film doesn't reflect what our government is reflecting. Our government doesn't care about Ukrainian people or the war. They are pro-Russian, etc. So they told me, you are not your government, and it was really good to feel
that you can show different Georgia.
Yes. I'm so happy people like these people, because I love them so much. And and I want to change their life. Voila.
So now you will show the Blueberry Dreams film. You're working on another documentary about Alzheimer.
Yeah.
You are also doing the fiction film. But what are you hoping for yourself, or bigger, speaking for Georgia, for the coming 2025?
Oh la la, what a question. I hope we will get rid of our government. This little dictatorship that they are installing, it's not good for us. It makes a lot of people lose their jobs, lose their future. Students won't be able to travel anymore because their diploma won't be recognized. People will not get the healthcare they need because the European programs are closed. We will not get the statute of candidate for European Union was stopped. Negotiation has stopped. So we are seeing a dark future for us, like isolation. Isolation is the word, I think. And I don't want this. I don't want. And also I would say just one thing, the mother of the film I shot, Nino from the Blueberry Dreams, she said, I don't want my kids to go in Europe and to flee. I want Europe to be here. And because nobody wants to leave their house. And it's true. Nobody wants to be a refugee. Nobody wants to be far away from his grandma. Why would we leave? Of course, it's super to travel, etc., and have experience, but it's not about this. When you are forced to leave, it's not okay. And I hope this will end and there will be fair election and a new party, maybe new parties. So we have a multi-party assembly. We can be a real democracy. And also, I hope that we can save ourselves, because we are waiting so much for America to say one word, or to Putin to stop his mess, or for Europeans to not be that careful. And sometimes I'm a bit mad on Europeans, I'm sorry to say this, but they are so scared. They are so scared of Russia, and they cannot do anything against America. So to what they are, sometimes even Europeans are laughing on Georgian. Why they want to be in Europe? Europe is a mess, but it's not to be in Europe. It's this values on what Europe was built, Freedom, human rights, peace.
Democracy.
Yes, inclusion, education, access to, evolution. So I really hope that we can save ourselves. That's the main thing, that we don't wait for people and we just take our streets back. Because those people now that are in power, they are idiots. Idiots who wants just money and who wants people to be dumb because it's easy to control them, and that's it. We should not give. Why should I give my country to them?
Well, Georgian people are on the streets since last year, and I wish you a lot of strength to keep going.
Yes, but we should do more. We are too kind, but it's good because we are making a revolution very soft and beautiful. But now people are really sentenced to jail, beaten. It's another layer, of terror. And if we don't do now something big, we're gonna lose it, like Belarusian. And I'm so sad for them, because they fought so much for their country, so much. In Russia also they try, but they're all in prisons or killed or like journalists. It's catastrophe. Let's not give them our freedom and our country.
On that note, we're coming back to the final part of the podcast, which is always coming back, let's say, to the softer reality and speaking about food. And as you know, I have published a cookbook that you could see at the screening as well. And I wanted to ask you about your favorite food from home.
My favorite. It was really funny because when I grew up in Belgium, there was no Georgian food. And then when someone will bring from Georgia cheese or khachapuri, this bread with cheese or something, a gem from feijo. Feijo is a fruit that grows in Georgia, but also in Brazil, I think. Directly you feel like a kid, And so my mom was really trying to make these dishes, Georgian dishes with Belgian ingredients. The khachapuri, the Georgian pizza, let's say, she was mixing emmental, mozzarella, feta to create a Georgian cheese. I was like, it doesn't work. So things like this, you would. And if someone would go to Georgia, because we were not so much traveling, it was not easy times in the 90s or something. So we were like, you go to Georgia, bring some spices, some herbs, something. And we were waiting. And it's like
So it's about the ingredients, right?
Ingredients.
More than about the dish itself, let's say.
Yeah, ingredients and the smells and the things that's special to Georgia that you cannot find here. So we were always waiting for the suitcase to open and like, Mom, we'll do something like reminds me grandma or something. Yeah.
That's so nice. And now being back in Georgia and living there, are you eating the Georgian food or do you have done enough now?
No,
being close to it.
I'm eating, but it's like I became also vegetarian. So, but there's a lot of vegetarian dishes in Georgian culture. So but sometimes I miss European food then, some things I was used to, but
the grass is always greener, right? On the other side.
And I love to cook so much for my friends, so I always try things. I don't know, I like to experience things. Mixed Georgian. I made a Georgian doner, The sauce was with, called walnuts, fleur de souci. I don't know how is it in English. It's a special flower that grows in the mountains. And you make the sauce with it. And then you add pomegranates and things.
Ooh.
And I put it in the doner bread. I was like, what is this? It was for my German friend. Anyway, it was really funny. And we try things and then...
Cool.
I will bring you. And the thing I love the most, it's ajika. Ajika, it's a spicy sauce that's made in Georgia, but in Abkhazia especially, it's very spicy. And my mom, it's so funny. She puts a mask, then gloves, and then she's doing it in the kitchen, and then she's burnt. But we are eating this all year. You put just on the bread with butter. It's yummy.
Ooh, amazing. Cool. Thanks so much for being here, for the good energy on this sunny day.
Yeah, thank you for inviting.
I wish you all the best for this year, for you personally as a creator, filmmaker, but also as a human being who wants the world to be a better place.
Thank you.
And this was it for today. Thank you for reaching till the end of this episode. The next one is coming in 4 weeks, always on Monday. Please follow the podcast and leave a rating. I'm also happy to hear your feedback, so feel free to write me via Instagram or by email. All the needed info you will find in the show notes of this episode. In the meantime, take good care and we hear each other soon.